or anyone in preference. I want to welcome you this afternoon, and most importantly, welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Mkhululi Ndlovu, the founder and director at Heritage Angel Investors, who have initiated this webinar this afternoon. And I think this is mainly coming from request from the different individuals that he works with, be it entrepreneurs, fellow investors, mentees, who would want to be understanding how to further develop their ideas. I personally am very passionate about entrepreneurship, and hence agreeing to be the moderator of this event. My name is Mkhululi Ndlovu, and I want to welcome any captains of industry that have joined us this afternoon, and also any other dignitaries that have joined us this afternoon, all protocol observed. Thank you very much to Heritage Investors, who I believe are passionate about creating an ecosystem where startups who have created a minimum viable product can have a platform to be able to scale their ventures onto higher platforms, or to meet relevant networks that can grow their enterprise. So at this point, I want to thank Heritage for coming through and allowing us to be able to go through this. Our speaker, Mr. Mkhululi Ndlovu, if you could possibly show yourself, and we confirm that you are here with us.
I'm here. Thank you very much for coming in your large numbers. And thank you, Peter, for agreeing to moderate this. I hope it will be a useful conversation. And I'm hoping that we can share ideas and we discuss this topic that I think is of interest to everyone. Thank you very much.
Great. If I can briefly introduce Heritage Investor Network, it's a locally based membership organization whose mission is to fundraise seed funding for early stage startups in Zimbabwe, promoting innovation and entrepreneurship. So the concepts used to fundraise from its members, development partners, venture capital firms, and other organizations. HAIN intends to work with incubation hubs, accelerators, academia, and other partners who focus on developing and promoting startups. These startups should have reached a minimum viable product stage and should be looking for seed funding to scale. So launched in a way to be able to assist in deal screening as well, to assist in being able to help entrepreneurs manage their enterprises even better through mentorship and coaching. I believe angel investor networking has been in place as one of the studies that I was reading since 1990s. And entrepreneurship has since changed since the 90s and taken a new different meanings. And I believe we are very keen to make sure that entrepreneurship solves problems in our society. So it is important for us to create meetups, mentoring activities, and support entrepreneurs that are more savvy about their the career that they're building or the business that they're building, and most importantly, their financing options. So this webinar, we hope, will assist, give information on helping entrepreneurs and companies to have more control on staging capital into their companies. And most research has shown that the need to build these platforms is very, very important. The inefficiencies that have been found around angel investment in the last few years are that the quality of deals that are established sometimes do not benefit the entrepreneur at the end. The quality of deals are subject to the individual who's funding, and people have initiators or people who come up with ideas at idea stage maybe have very limited networks, and it's very time consuming and labor intensive. So I believe that initiatives have come through to try and make sure that there are investment portals, there are platforms where we are able to reach these connections. And this is one of the initiatives this afternoon. So I think on that note, I will introduce our speaker for today. Our speaker for today is Mr. Mkhululi Ndlovu, an information technology consultant with a career spanning over 21 years working across Africa. MK is an entrepreneur and a budding startup mentor, an investor and interest in telecoms, wireless ISP, agri-processing, construction, and information technology firms. He's a co-founder and advisor of Micah Foundation, one of the partners who are with us today, technology accelerator that focuses on startup firms to scale through offering mentorship, coaching, entrepreneurship, and training advisory. 2017 and 2018, Micah Foundation hosted Demo Africa for Zimbabwe. It's a technology startup pitch event and the startup bootcamp hosted by VC4 in Cape Town, a based venture firm. MK is also a founder of the Heritage Angel Investor Network, which focuses on seed funding, as I said, for startups. He sits on various boards, is passionate about speaking, and has authored a technology book. So today we follow his passion on speaking and allow him to come to share his screen and allow him to come through and speak to us. We will take questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat room. I believe our assistant has already put, please guys, introduce yourself in the chat room. Tell us who you are and where you're from. Please also put your questions there. I think Twitter handles for Micah Heritage have been put in the chat room. So we ask you to please put your questions together and also ask them after the presentation. We do have two individuals, if they are now here, who will be able to comment on their experiences with angel investor networks. And we want to thank, I've seen he's coming, Mr. Kuda Musasiwa, for joining us today. Kuda, are you in? Maybe you can switch on your video.
Yes, I am actually in, and I'm actually in, and I'm also live on Spaces. So welcome our guest on Spaces as well, who are going to be listening through my phone.
Great, thank you very much, Kuda, for connecting us to those individuals on Spaces. Thank you very much. We will be calling on certain individuals who will be able to comment and give valuable input on this conversation. So I'll hand it over to you, MK, to take it away. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Betha. I don't know if you are seeing the right screen.
Yes, we
I've
are.
got two screens. Firstly, I would like to thank everyone for coming in at this time. I know that it is during your working time, but we appreciate that you came in to join us. We're hoping that this will be a start of many conversations that we will have going forward concerning this topic. It is something new. I think in the audience, I'm also honored to see important people. Dr. Lenneiye in the group, I know, is very passionate about the startup ecosystem. Thank you very much for making time. Takunda, thank you very much. Also, I'd like to thank Kuda for coming in. And I saw Clopas Mandinyenya, thank you very much for attending. I really appreciate, and other colleagues that are my friends, Ishmael Chiwayu, and others who have actually put aside time to come in. And I see one of the Heritage Angels Board of Trustees, Tendaita Gray, is part of the meeting, like Ngube, my partner. So really, thank you very much. I appreciate you also, Kuda, for putting this out in other channels. We're hoping that this is a start of great conversations. I think for me, it is a defining moment because I started this journey in 2014 when I started looking at how best we can help startups scale up. It came out of my own passion when I came to Harare as a young developed boy, and I came to university, and after university, I had big ideas about starting my own firm, and I eventually did so in 2001, and I had challenges now to go into the market. I didn't have someone who can hold my hand until later on in life, and I realized that it was a lonely journey and it was tough. And also coming from a background where perhaps you are the first or the second line entrepreneur, entrepreneurship is not something that you have at home, and it is a journey that is unknown. So you see that you end up having a difficult time getting people who can guide you. And that's why we started Micah in 2014. And we share the same passion with Betha, who are outside this call. She's my wife, but also she's an entrepreneurship teacher, and she's also passionate. So I thank you for putting this time aside because it's been many years in coming. So I'm presenting today as Heritage Angel Investors, but in this platform, I would like also to thank E4 Impact that Betha represents, and CAS, Catholic University of Zimbabwe, and E4 Impact. They are very crucial members within the entrepreneurship space, as they have an MBA in entrepreneurship, and they are trying to build also a strong ecosystem within the startup ecosystem. Thank you very much for that as well. On the side, there's ABAN, which is Africa Business Angel Network, because Heritage is a member of ABAN. So I'm going to talk about what is an angel investor. I'll try to be brief so that we can finish up your work and also to take questions. So if you see our logo, Heritage Angel Investors, and you can see that there is an eagle and there's got their eggs there. This logo, basically, we call ourselves nurturing a legacy because we believe every person, when they are born, especially entrepreneurs, they are born with an idea or some kind of gift that they are born with. And us as angel investors, we are actually saying we want to nurture that gift so that it comes from ideation into life. And that's why you see that we are the mother eagle there as angel investors trying to nurture this gift that the startups have. And I think this is an incredible time in the world today where a young man with an idea through the power of the internet and technology, they can do amazing things in the world stage. So the agenda, it's okay. It's about 7 items, that I wanted to share with you. What is an angel investor? Compare that with venture capital. What are the key characteristics of an angel investor? The sources of funding that angel investors use, and also the different fundraising stages, and just a bit about Heritage Angel Investors. This conversation is targeted to startups or those who want to go into business, also to established business people, also trying to promote them and share with them the idea that they should be mentoring someone, coaching someone, investing in someone so that their dreams come true. So I think this is relevant to everyone. So an angel investor is known as a private investor or a seed investor or an angel funder. Is an individual with excess capital who provides financial backing for small startups or entrepreneurs, typically in exchange of ownership, equity in the company. Okay, I don't think I've got excess money, but what I have is a passion, and I have some money that I can actually help take someone to another level. So the excess capital is basically a term, yes, but anyone who has some money or some resources, they can enable another person to go to another level. So angel investors are individuals who seek to invest at early stages. Basically, we are taking a risk. And the term angel originated in 1900s when we're looking at investors who were supporting Broadway theater productions were deemed to be very risky. So normally these are individuals who are normally affluent, who inject capital for startups in exchange for ownership, equity, or convertible debt. Well, affluent is another word as well. I don't think I'm affluent, but I'm passionate. Angel investors are also called informal investors or angel funders, private investors, seed investors, or business angels. On the other side, if you look at what the venture capital at least is a private equity investor that provides capital to companies exhibiting high growth potential. An angel investor goes in early, while the VC goes when we are talking about scaling and we're at growth phase. I'm going to show you a chart that shows you the different stages. And this could be funding to startup ventures or supporting small companies that wish to expand but do not have access to equities market. Venture capitalists are willing to risk investing in companies, but these companies already are at growth stage, but they expect a certain minimum return for their investments, because most of the venture capitalists, they take money from pension funds, they take money from other sources. And so normally there will be a prescribed return that they give the firm that they'll be investing in. So some of the first venture capital firms started out in the early 1900s. Coming back to angels, the first angel investor in history was someone by the name of Cyrus Westfield, who was born November 30, 1819 and died in July 12, 1892. He was an American financier who, along other entrepreneurs, created the Atlantic Telegraph Company and led the first telegraph cable across the Atlantic Ocean. So this might be new in our side of the world, but this has been going on for many, many years. People have taken risks at early stages in different initiatives. So the key characteristics of an angel investment, these are quite risky because when you go in early, you are talking at early enough, like a startup is not yet making money or it's about to make money. So out of all your portfolio, it is recommended that you should not spend more than 10% of your investment out of your whole portfolio, because these are very, very risky. So like I mentioned, angel investors have got some funds to invest, but they normally look for a higher return. Yes, because we're coming in early, it's a high risk. So the expectation is high risk, high returns. So normally, if you look at a startup at that stage, the startup does not have cash flows to go to the bank to get funding, or they don't have title deeds to go to the bank to get funding. So angel investment becomes really an attractive instrument for financing for an early stage startup business. So of course, the issue of an angel investor is not necessarily profit, but more the interest on the individual, believing in the individual, betting on the individual. Of course, with the idea that the profits will come later, but the investment is motivated more about investing in the individual. Unlike venture capitalists who already come in for profit and they will tell you what they expect. So some of the angel investment platforms include crowdfunding platforms as a way to pull up funds through crowdfunding platforms. We also, in our case, is through building angel investor networks, like what Heritage is, where we have got different angel investors who put together money and pull their capital together. So if you see here, the difference is we're coming in early as angel investors and also taking a risk. And also the expectation of profit is there, but it is later on. But the interest is to believe in that startup, in the founders, that they'll go to another level. So because the source of funding, angel investors use their money. Unlike a venture capitalist who take care of pooled money, like I mentioned, from other investors or some funds like pension funds, etc. Because angel investors put their money, this basically it's like someone is voting with their own money. It shows the seriousness. They are betting with their own money. So how they do it is you normally set up a limited liability company or you set it up as a business trust. In our case, Heritage Angel Investors is a trust, and then members put together money and they set up a vehicle where then that vehicle is the one that will take shares in the startup. So the investment profile, like I mentioned, angel investment, you are going in early and you might lose all the investment. However, you might also be lucky. The way to make money out of it is through a defined exit strategy or an acquisition or an initial public offering. In Africa, we are starting to see a lot of traction in Nigeria, where we are hearing exits of 200 million in acquisitions. So it is our hope as Heritage that one day we're going to bet on a startup and be able to exit at a good return. So normally our interest in terms of internal rate of return for a successful portfolio of angel investors are talking 20 to 30%. But if you look at it, this might look good, but it might seem too expensive for a startup. But honestly, a startup cannot access certain financing like in the banking sector because of the limitations that I've mentioned. So this makes angel investment perfect for startups who are financially struggling during the startup phase of their business. So this angel investment is something that's growing and is growing even in Africa. In Africa, a couple of years ago, about 2014, 2015, colleagues started Africa Business Angel Network. One of the founders is a gentleman in Nigeria. And we also have other colleagues in Cameroon who sat around and set up this. And since then, this is taking Africa by storm. And Heritage is one angel investment network, but we're hoping that this is the start of more things to come in our side of town. Now, I just want to talk about fundraising stages so that I can give you an idea when to attract an angel investor or to start thinking about angel investment. If you look at on the left is the revenue and traction, and on the right is the time. At the beginning, when you're at ideation stage, you bootstrap. I'm sure you've heard of the term called bootstrapping, where you also ask for your friends and family. And when you then use that money, you build a proof of concept or a beta edition, which is basically you're now trying to establish the finding a problem and solution fit. That is when now we are coming in to talk to an angel investor to put seed funds in order to take you to the revenue stage, where we are now strengthening the product and market fit, but also ensuring that you are now at revenue stage. And then after that, we have got VC rounds, which is the venture capitalists that I was talking about. Putting it in another way, just for you to understand, the growth of a startup is in different phases, coming from ideating, concepting, committing, validating, scaling up, scaling and establishing links. If you see at the bottom here, these are sources of funds. At the bottom, at the ideating stage, when you're still looking at how you solve a certain problem and coming up with an ideal solution, you normally use your own money. And then now when you think you found the solution and you're strengthening that into a minimum viable product, which is what Ms. Ndlovu was talking about, that is where you also exhaust your friends and family money. So if you see at the top, there's a problem solution fit, then there's also issues of founders committing to that vision. And after that, when you've got something to show, you can then now go to the validation stage where you approach an angel, where you are now strengthening your product and market fit. At that point, then you can generate revenue. If you see the red line, this is revenue. You can see that when you come to the angel, you should be towards revenue generation, and the angel seed funds, pre-seed funds will allow you to actually go to the market and be able to generate money. So the importance of an angel investor, basically it fills the funding gap. Basically, I've mentioned that at idea stage, you exhaust your friends, your family money, and there is a time when you have a product and you want to go to the market, but still needs perfecting. And this is normally called the valley of death. And that is where an angel plays a role. The angel comes in with seed funds to ensure you to go through the valley of death stage. And from there, you are able to generate revenue and the startup is sustainable. So this is basically it. In terms of other countries, like in America, anything between 50,000 and 1 million is an angel investment. It's basically an angel, it's a seed, the seed fund. But in Africa, we're seeing in Nigeria, at least we're talking $50,000 US basically the kind of seed up to 50,000. In Zimbabwe, our case, we are looking at investors who will be able to put together at least 10,000 US dollars, 5,000 maybe in the first 6 months. We pull together our funds. Maybe we're talking 10,000, we put together everything up to 50. So we're still at early stage, but as we recruit more members and put together money, this number will go up. But also angel investors are important for providing business knowledge, networks, mentorship. And basically angel investors are typical experienced professionals who can give you wisdom and guidance to entrepreneurs. And they have the patience to wait for normal company maturation, because it's not just, okay, here's the money, you go and do your thing. There's a lot more that an angel provides. And angel investors are also important in terms of creation of jobs, because as this business starts generating money, this becomes an engine for job creation. And they also play a significant role in getting a new business off the ground. I'm sure all of you who have started businesses, you know how hard it is to get a business off the ground, especially in an economy like this. So what are the advantages of creating or joining an angel group? An angel group basically the members who come together and form a network, just like what we've done with the Heritage Angel Investors Network. It's a network of individuals who put together their funds. So the first benefit is the ability to aggregate resources in order to secure staff, interns, facilities to enhance the deal process. So that is number one. Number two, angel groups have more efficient deal screening processes that allow for multiple checks and balances, and by having diversity of knowledge about the market, management, and financial assumptions. We have a deal that's going right now is the Angel Network, where we are pulling some funds to invest in an energy startup. One of the key things, the skills that the angels have are complementary. Okay, can you mute there on your side? So one of the key issues, the angels, they've got different skills. So for instance, when they approach the startup, they can provide value, whether it's financial and so on. That is the power. Angel investors can also make a larger investment. Let's say because you are pulling your funds together, you can then put up maybe 50,000, 100,000 together. That is the benefit. And also angel groups allow people to syndicate on a deal and share risk. What it means is, assuming, let's say we are looking at people who are passionate about investing in women-owned enterprises, they will set up a syndicate that will have members who put together money and they invest in that cause. So the syndicate can be focused on a particular interest area. So with Heritage, you also want to set up syndicates, especially understanding that people have got different passions. And new angels can learn from experienced angels, angel investors. Like me, I've been learning a lot from my colleagues in Lagos and Urban. I've been on this journey. So I'm still learning. I also attend the training that's held by the Urban Academy. So also, I've learned a lot in terms of that. So through pooling of resources and also capital, then essentially what this means, there's a huge influence that comes out of that. And also there's an ability then to diversify investments. Instead of you having a $1,000, you try to invest in one, you can split that and have several investments in diverse areas. So angel groups provide intangible values of camaraderie and sharing of common goals, because you are basically sharing risk and you are putting in different skills in an investment. So angel groups can also be influential in terms of raising regulatory and policy issues with government, which can contribute to creation of new and better policies. So in the case right now, we would like to have our voice heard in terms of promoting angel investment as an instrument to pull domestic investment. Instead of us looking for foreign investment, we're also saying angel investment can actually be an instrument to build domestic investment. So now I'm going to talk about Heritage Angel Investors. It is a membership-based organization. The mission is to provide a platform to raise seed funding for early-stage startups in Zimbabwe, promoting innovation and entrepreneurship. So basically, we use the angel investment concepts to raise funding from its members, development partners, venture capital firms, and other organizations. The World Bank has created templates in terms of how you set up an angel network, as well as Urban. So we are leveraging a lot on their templates in terms of how you set up, you run your angel investment network. So we work also with hubs, because that's where we source deals, accelerators, academia, and other partners who focus on developing, promoting startups. So aware that government universities now are compelled to set up innovation hubs under Education 5.0. So as angels, we look for startups in those areas. So we focus on startups that have reached a minimum viable product stage and are looking for seed funding to scale. You already have exhausted your money, your father's money, your uncle's money, and your friend's money, and you have a product that you want to perfect and take to market. You come to us. So HAIN was launched in 2019 in Zimbabwe and is registered as a trust. Though what happens is members, when they invest, they have to set up their own vehicle. So this is like a platform, and it is led by a board of trustees, and also subcommittees are there to for specific mandates, let's say deal screening and things like that. Just a bit more what we do: we facilitate deal screening, pitch demo days, deal screening, matchmaking, and also allow angels to make their own investments, provide a platform to enable other investors to provide matching funds and other types of funding, such as grants, donation, sponsorship, carry out due diligence on startups identified for investment by members, and also affiliate to regional and global organizations. I mentioned that we work with Urban or affiliated. So in a way also, we will offer our angel investors a chance to say invest in Nigeria through other angels. Also to train and capacity build members in general public on angel investment, which is what we are doing, and also to set up affiliate chapters countrywide in order to increase reach on members, because angel investors must be close to startups. That way they can be able to work with the startups. Let's say we set up a chapter in Bulawayo, we'll expect that the local community can become angels. Also to lobby key stakeholders on policy and legislation. It is a big area because it's not regulated yet. And one country that has done strides is Turkey, where there are policies about angel investment. And it is what we're hoping that we will do here in Zimbabwe as well. Also attract individuals and other members to join so that they can participate, and also facilitate the syndication, setting up syndicates, and also so that they pool funds together. And also establish links with national, international associations in Zimbabwe and throughout the world. So how we work is basically the first thing is we deal source, like I mentioned, from all over the place. In my case, I get a lot of deals through LinkedIn as well and through other contacts. Then there's a deal screening process, pitch days where those are shortlisted are asked to pitch. Then there are negotiations. There's a due diligence that goes on. Then the deal is shortlisted. Then there's a term sheet once members agree to invest, and then shareholder agreements are signed and investment is made. So this is just a summary, but this process can take a month, 2 or 3, depending on what members say, whether they're interested. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I'm giving you 2 more minutes though.
Okay, thank you. So the profile of members, we're looking for successful entrepreneurs, those who have got close knowledge of needs of startups and are crucial in driving creation of angel networks. business executives and other traditional investors, functional expertise or industry experience, people with experience such as management, finance, marketing, human resources, etc. And also we are looking forward to affiliate members as well as venture capitalists so that we can be able to invest together. Normally, it is advisable to invest with an angel because that way the angels are much closer to the startups. And also we are looking for sponsoring memberships as well. So this is the criteria we're looking for. So just in summary, ABAN is the Africa Business Angel Network. It is an association that was founded in 2015 to support the development of early stage investor networks across the continent and to grow the cohort of early stage investors excited about opportunities. So we are affiliated. Another organization that I'm also part of is World Business Angel Angel Investment Forum, which is a Turkish-based organization. It's a global organization. I'm the Zimbabwe international partner. Basically, it's also promoting angel investment as an instrument for investment. In particular, we have activities. I'm part of the Global Startup Committee. We have the Angel Investment Week, where in October, where we are going to be having a conversation about angel investment. We're going to share with you the dates as well. It's in October. It's called Angel Investment Week. I think I'm done here. Better I'll end with a quote from Peter Cowley. He's he's basically the president of Europe Angel Network. He's invested in more than 40 startups, and he has written a book called Invested Investor, where he said most founders won't remember which investors put in the money in the early stages, but they will remember which investors were the most helpful as they built their business. This was Richard Lucas, a serial entrepreneur and investor. Over to you, Beth.
Thank you very much for that informative and insightful presentation. So now I would like to ask you to prepare your questions. We are going to have the last 15 minutes of this webinar with question and answer session. But before I get into the questions, I want to give an opportunity to two people. I'll start with Dr. Lenneiye. I don't know if you had been informed, but I hope I'm not putting you on the stage, though I know you'll be well prepared. So thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. And I would want to ask you to come through and just share with us from your experiences on a very exposed background that you have from your previous high-profile position and getting into the space of helping to build startups. What have we done? The policy frameworks. I know there is a venture capital framework policy in Zimbabwe at the moment. Is there a similar framework in place in terms of angel investment? And if it's in progress of being built or not there, what, given your background and what you have gone through in this space, would you advise the investors, the policymakers, and the enablers who are in the field to enable entrepreneurs to get investment?
Hello, Marjorie. I think I was expected to come and listen and not talk, but MK should have warned me. But I will, if I get you right, you really are interested in what are going to be the parameters that might be put in place towards producing an angel investors legal framework. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, let me give the kind of the broad basic principles of policy making. One, policy making requires the people who are going to be the beneficiaries of it to come forward and make a case for it. Two, it requires the people who then are going to be driving the policy making, and there are two sides where the beneficiaries and the people who make the policies to understand the importance of it. And three, for the two groups to agree what exactly they want to achieve. Now, In the case of Zimbabwe, and I'll make it try to be short because you don't have much time. I think our biggest problem is that the people who are high net worth individuals, whether they are pension funds, whether they are wealthy people in this country, whether it's a government, I think they still have not graduated from the old economy. They have a very limited understanding of the third industrial revolution, leave alone the fourth industrial revolution we're entering now. So I think one of the first things is to really want to make sure that is try and educate them. How do they, and educating them, not just telling them what it is really letting them understand what benefits it's going to bring to them in the economy. Because a lot of them are politicians, they're business people, they are very much kind of focusing very much on the past. They understand the old economy, they don't understand the new economy. So how do you educate them, the people in the new economy, when the startups don't have a very good understanding of the economy? They have a good understanding of the tech. They do not have a strong understanding of the policy environment, especially institutions. Most of us who are in the tech space, and I'm not, I'm a bureaucrat, think that bureaucracies are a waste of time. But unfortunately, the bureaucracies is the institutions that drive the formation of policy. So that's going to be the first challenge that I think we're going to have to find. Make sure the young and the old can talk to each other. So I spend a lot of my time listening to the young, and I hope the few I talk to spend enough time listening to me. So it becomes a listening exercise between the two of us. So I understand technology, I understand innovation, I understand the new thinking. I'm hoping I try. And I keep hoping that they will understand the dimensions of bureaucracy, institutions, systems, and society, so that they understand that their startups are meant to solve real problems for business people, for society, et cetera, et cetera. The final point I want to make is for the startups. Given the people you are dealing with, they see you, unfortunately, we haven't got the point where they see you as valuable to them. And the ones who do see you as competitors, they trying to compete you out, they trying to take your idea over, they try and kind of kill your idea. So it's the preparation and understanding the ecosystem is critical. And therefore it will require us to at least make sure that we are well prepared. We understand the local potential funders and their interests. We get mentorship and use the sound business plans. I didn't say comprehensive, sound, and be clear on what you are asking the angel investors or any investor and what you are offering. And I think for me, in policy making, is the first step we have to do, is really find a way of making sure that those in the startup space have a good understanding of the people they are talking to, and how we get the people you need to talk to educated so they understand you. Because frankly, I talk to governments, I talk to departments, I talk to business people in this country, I talk to civil society organizations, and I talk to the startups. And I think, well, I can talk to the diplomats and talk to international organizations, and they understand what they are saying. I think the critical people who need to understand here, they are not understanding. The young people do very well, but they are not having access. They're not able to actually talk, and therefore there is no common agenda that's developed between the two of them. That's what I would say is in summary. Sorry, it was a bit disorganized, but next time, I'm sure if I come, I'll be a bit better organized. Thank you.
Definitely. I certainly do not regret pouncing on you. Thank you very much for those clear words of inspiration. And UDUGU Institute is available to work with you in building yourself in the space of growing your enterprise. So make sure that you appreciate these platforms that we have locally, and appreciating the collaborations that we're creating. For the next 2 minutes, I call this gentleman a high growth, a savvy high growth entrepreneur. Kuda, please come through. Share with us for a minute or two what your experience has been with an angel investor. We can't hear you, Kuda, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry,
Great.
sorry.
That's fine.
Not very tech savvy after all. Guys, thank you for having me, giving me this opportunity to speak. I'm going to be very specific in the angel investor I'm speaking about, because I have only ever had one in my life. And that angel investor is our presenter, MK. You know, he called me up, I think literally a week after we started Fresh in a Box. I think he had made an order. I think he enjoyed the speed and the service. And he called me up and he said, look, I want to invest in your company. Now, remember, at this point, we didn't even have a company registered. We were just an idea, and we were just trying to hustle our way out of a tomato crop. And I remember my words to MK were very clear. I said, look, as much as I want to take your money, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. And I think the next thing I said to him was like, I would like you to invest in me over the next 2 years or so. Without putting a cent in, I would like you to invest your time, your energy, your advice, and just helping me navigate this new world of business. You see, I was coming from a space where I was a marketing exec. I did adverts and marketing and jingles, etc. And I was just very clueless in this business world, having employees, having premises, taxes, etc. And I think having MK holding my hand and being a mentor for the past 3 years has been absolutely, until he actually started pumping in money in Fresh Ideas, which is our technology arm, where he's really helped us boast. I mean, we would not be able, obviously, to keep going without support of this angel who has made sure that salaries are paid, the team is fed, and we continue to build great tech. But his money has not been nearly as valuable to me, obviously, as his advice, his mentorship. He visiting me. Making sure that I'm on the straight and narrow, scolding me when I do stupid things on the internet, etc. I think I would not be anywhere as close to where I am if it wasn't for his wisdom. And he's been in the technology space in Zimbabwe for years. With Microsoft and Oracle, etc. And so having him guide us and as a rudder, who is hands off. He doesn't ask us too many questions, but he's always there to keep a monitoring eye on us. So I think it's something that I believe is important for young startups. If you are getting into the space, is to find somebody like an MK who can mentor you and walk you through things. I'm very good at certain things. I'm absolutely terrible at other things. MK has forced me to get better at documentation. MK has got me better at preparing pitch decks, talking to potential other investors and introducing me to people who I would never have been able to sit in front of before. So I think this has been my experience with an angel investor like MK, and I'm hoping that now that he has put in some money in Fresh Ideas and now he's a business partner, I hope one day when we do cash out for $1 billion, it's been worth it. But if I lose all his money, I hope that it's also worth it for him that he went on this journey with us.
Thank you very much, Kuda. Thank you very much, and congratulations for all your achievements. And of course, victory is certain. We wish you many more successes in all you do.
Absolutely,
thank you very
victory
much.
Is certain.
Great, victory is certain. Right, we are in the question and answer session. We don't have much time. I'm going to stretch it a little bit to just after 3 o'clock, but I think we will end at 3 o'clock. If you have any burning questions, please put up your hand or go ahead and ask a question. Has anybody got a question, a burning question to ask our speaker or our two co-presenters? Right, so while we wait for the questions, my question to you, MK, which came in previously, is how long do you have to invest in a startup before you start getting a return, an angel investor? How long do you have to invest in a startup before you get a return? Speaking on behalf of investors.
Thank you very much. Angel investing is not a short-term game. In fact, research has shown that it is anything between 3 years and 7 years before you can get a return. If you are lucky, it could be earlier, but also out of say 10, you might exit in 3 successfully. The other 7 might fail. So it is a risky proposition, and it needs someone who has a long heart and passion. And also, certainly, if you take the money for your children's school fees and you do an investment in angel investment, and you think that you get that money back very quickly to pay school fees, this is not the right investment for you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Most startups struggle with numbers, and how services that you're going to
I think we have lost data.
the finance module. I know I've seen some, but it's a difficult one. And so what do we do? Advise us how the angel investor can help us sail through those difficult waters.
Okay, I lost you a bit, but I will assume you're talking about financials when it comes to startups and founders being able to have a grasp on financial. Yes, it is a big issue. We as angel investors within our network, we have people who are more experienced, and having an angel investor will help because they can put their time to educate you in terms of how you handle your finances better or how you present the finances better, but it is a big area. One of the things that we're working with Dr. Lenneiye in terms of UDUGU Institute, we're coming up with an incubation program that will help in terms of the documentation, especially the coming up with the financial model and all that. That will strengthen the capacity of the startup in terms of when they go in front of investors and how they transition from a startup into a business that they will require. So it is a work in progress, but it's certainly a big requirement.
Okay, it's very important to create, I think, that disconnect, I think that Dr. Lenneiye even mentioned, that we are not talking enough to each other, we're not listening enough. What do you intend to do as Heritage to make sure that there are enough investment portals to create these connections? Because the biggest complaint is getting the investors to the entrepreneurs.
I think creating awareness, this is a start in terms of creating awareness, but also we are recruiting members who can join us so that we can have capacity then to be able to impact as many startups as possible. So it is work in progress. We are hoping that some of the people in the audience can join us so that we can build a vibrant angel investor ecosystem.
Great. Look, our time is up. I'm going to check one last time in the chat room if there are any more questions. I think we have one more. How do we create an all-inclusive startup ecosystem in Zimbabwe? We took about 3 years before meeting someone, an official angel investor besides MK, who's paving the way, our own program. Are there any more apparent angel investors out there? So how do we create a more inclusive startup ecosystem? I think you gave a clear how to join angel investor, but maybe if you could just answer that and just emphasize how this is going to work before we end.
I think what we're doing is with UDUGU, we also say, okay, we need to come up with a framework to work with other startup organizations that focus on startup. And I'm happy here that Kuda is here because I think this is it's not one organization that can do everything. We need to collaborate, especially on areas where we are strong. There's no one organization that can be able to know how to help a startup in the food sector, how to help a startup in the IT sector. It's not possible. But what we're looking for is incubation hubs to define themselves. What are they strong in, and come up with a self-regulation so that at the end of the day, the startups can move between the different hubs. Is a way of strengthening their capacity. Let's say we've got a hub that's focusing on ideation. They do it so well, but when they are now looking at MVP, they can transition, they allow a startup to transition to another, to an accelerator or another hub. And then once they are ready to go in front of investors, then they can approach heritage. It is that environment where we are hoping to come up with a collaboration through self-regulation. So we are meeting different incubation hubs and trying to share the story. But I would like obviously Takunda to say something, because I know he's been very passionate about this for many, many years, just like myself. And what his experience has been, how do we better build an ecosystem? I think that is what I would like him to share from his own experience as well.
Yes, thank you very much. Takunda, please, you are spreading the word in Matebeleland, or the other side of the country. Please share with us what your experience has been and what your piece of advice would be in these days as we finalize. I think I'll give you half a minute or a minute. We end just stretching over 3 o'clock. Is he still with us, Takunda? I don't think he's still with us. But look, this is not the last one. This is the first of many to come. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all for joining us this afternoon, and thank especially our speaker today, Mr. Mkhululi Ndlovu, founder of Heritage Investor Network, for putting this together. I think it's been, like he said, a long coming dream to make this happen, which started many, many years ago, as far as back as 2005. And then we were investing, or he was investing in many different, not realizing that he was a business angel investor, but the dream today to share this story and to grow the ecosystem has happened. So this is not the first, it's many to come, and we will have more speakers coming through, sharing more and how the ecosystem is growing, how the entrepreneurs are benefiting, what more we can do to build the right environment, the right policies to support us. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Micah Foundation. I'd like to thank the Catholic University of Zimbabwe. I see the students are here. I'd like to thank E4 Impact Foundation. We are an Italian organization.
There's someone on chat who's saying something, just check.
Okay, right, so I just want, okay, I prefer empowering women myself. I've touched with your network, many women, especially grassroots level, from my community are not aware of angel investors. If I can organize them to come in to share information, very valid point. Thank you very much. We're definitely taking note of that. What do you think are the risks we face if we do not get an effective angel investment ecosystem in terms of gaining from the fourth industrial revolution? I think Dr. Lenneiye had mentioned that need to build a bridge of the enablers from the third to the fourth industrial. I'll let MK answer that in exactly half a minute, and then we call it a day.
Thank you very much. I think the biggest risk that we are facing, in fact, the frustration that most startups are facing is they've come up with creative ideas. They've come up with solutions to some community problems, and they ran out of money before the products could go to market. It is because they've not had a chance or someone to say, hold their hand and say, okay, fine, let me put something in here so that you can go to market. Or they don't have an angel who can open doors, or like what Kuda was saying, to phone someone and say, okay, can you give this startup a chance? I think that's the biggest challenge that is there. If you can allow me, I would like to ask Clovis to say something, Mandinyenya, because and Tendai, if you're there, just to abuse you a bit, say something, and I will hand over to Beth. I'm sorry to hijack your space, madam.
Thank you very much, MK Betha. I was not getting I didn't get a full presentation, but quickly, I would ask, what where is the platform where we can get all these small startups? Would you have a platform where we can access these startups so that we can actually have a chat and look at what we can do? And also possibly answered, what is the success rate of these startups generally as you see it? Thank you, MK.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lenneiye. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm so excited when I hear people say, where do we find the startups? MK, over to you. What is the rate of success of these startups?
The startups are all over the place. I think this is why we're talking about building an ecosystem, because there are some innovation hubs that are at university with great ideas. We have got individual startups such as hubs such as B2C and 825 that UDUGU Institute is managing and running. We have got incubation hubs like Tech Village in Bulawayo. So they're all over the place. But I think what is important now, through the platform of heritage, we are hoping then now to get all the ecosystem to provide their best startups to come, and then we can have a consolidated view of what's really happening in the country in the different sectors. The success rate, I think, obviously, like I mentioned, this is a very risky proposition, but the biggest issue is the startup, are they addressing a problem that is there in the community, a problem that's worth solving, or it is a nice to have. I think startups that have a chance to succeed, for instance, Kuda, for instance, is addressing what people need. Food, for instance, is a requirement, and also COVID coming in and also enabled Kuda's company to become a very useful company to solve the community problem. So the startups can survive if they're addressing a need that's the community has. I think that's what I can say.
Great. So we'll have the board member of Heritage, who's also a legal expert, just sharing a few words and maybe giving a vote of thanks, and then we call it a day.
Okay, thank you, Betha. Thank you, MK. I just wanted to say thank you for this platform. It's been really enlightening. I think one of the things that continues to come out is that we really need to raise awareness, because I believe that there are a lot of startup companies, but they just don't know where to go. So one of the things that we'll be working on as Heritage is to raise awareness and visibility and make sure that people do know where to go. And I'm happy that Kuda shared his experience, because it brings to the fore how angel investment is very important, because with other sources of funds, you might just get the funds, like the money, but you don't also get the benefit of business knowledge, advice, and so on. So I think it also brought to light how much angel investment is so important and the many benefits that it brings. So thank you for this discussion, and I hope that we'll continue to get better and we have more of these platforms and discussions. I think that's all I would want to say at this point. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll end here. We started at 1:15, so I believe we are still within the hour, though we are slightly over 3 o'clock. But I want to thank you for coming through and participating in our webinar today. Like I said, this is not the last one. It is the first of many to come. I would want to tell you there are truly many angels out there, and the beauty of being an angel is the financial and the non-financial returns that you get, I think, leading to a longer life. So I think the challenge has been put out there. Dr. Lenneiye said, let's listen to each other, let's talk, let's understand what each other's goals are, and let's find a meeting point. I think MK gave a very insightful definition of an angel investor. He gave the benefits of an angel investor. And most important aspect of this webinar was to announce that the platform is right here. The ecosystem has got players who are willing to build it. The question is, are you willing to join and build an ecosystem that will build your vision or your enterprise in your entrepreneurial journey? I would want to ask you to stay safe, and we will see you next time. And I'm sure we will be having these monthly. So please stay tuned. Go on our social platforms. You'll be able to find more information. I'm sure we'll post this on our social platforms and you'll be able to access it. Good afternoon to you all and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.